Welcome my friends to the week of Cerebro here at the Teddy Ninja channel. I've had this build around card sitting on my shelf for a little while now. He imposes the strictest deck building requirements to be able to create a viable deck, but I believe we have done it. The shiny football helmet of equality comes in with a 3-0 stat line ongoing. Your highest power cards get +2 power. Now we're going to go ahead and translate this to say all of your cards should be the same power, so that way Cerebro can buff all of them. There's a couple different power levels that people like to play Cerebro with, namely 3, 5, and 6. Today's deck is a 3-power Cerebro deck. We are calling it C3-BRO. The deck building challenge is very similar to a Patriot deck, but we are actually able to make use of cards with abilities, whereas Patriot is just slamming down all the cards that don't have any abilities. And so we have created quite an interesting list, all sitting at the 3-power threshold. The headline card for us is obviously Cerebro. I'm hoping to be able to have about 8 cards on the board for Cerebro to be able to buff, giving us 16 stat points for 3 energy cost. That is so incredibly efficient. That is game-winning kind of efficiency. And so we are also, of course, bringing in Mystique, because why not do it twice with the exact same stat line? If she's played back-to-back with Cerebro, she will be able to duplicate the effect for us. The next challenge that we are presented in terms of deck building is, as you think of all the different locations you're going to encounter in Marvel Snap, there are so many that are going to change the power of cards in their lane. So we are running as much as it is in our power to do so to be able to level the playing field. Rhino hitting the ruins, Magik giving us limbo, that extends the game length, makes our draws more consistent. Also, limbo does not impact the power level of any of the cards at that lane. And finally, Scarlet Witch can get us out of a sticky situation. She can produce absolutely anything, so of course can backfire, but the majority of locations are safe for us, so we're happy to be able to run her. And all 3 of these cards hit at the 3-power stat line. For the rest of our cards, we're taking anything with a 3-power stat line or less. We don't want any outlying powerful cards that is going to take the buff away from everybody else. And there's a lot of flexibility here. We are running Hawkeye, maybe the only deck to be running Hawkeye if you play a card here. Next turn, +2 power, taking him to that ideal 1-3 stat line, very energy efficient for us. We're playing Zero also because he is 3 energy, or 3 power I should say, 1 energy. His negating the ability of the next card means that we have to play around him a little bit. There's a couple cards here that we don't mind if their abilities get negated. There are some where we might want to negate the ability, such as Killmonger if we've already played our 1 costs. But mostly we're just taking him because he's a very energy efficient way to get a 3-power body onto the board. We have armor here to be able to kind of counteract the Killmonger, protect our own 1-drop so we can attack the opponents. It's easy to run Cosmo in Killmonger's place here, depending on what kind of control you want to leverage against your opponent. It's also worth mentioning that if you run Cosmo instead, you can protect the 1 effective attack your opponent has against you of running Rogue, and so you can use Cosmo to be able to cover Cerebro and Mystique. It's just, it happens so rarely. I enjoy being able to attack the opponent's 1-drops more than running Cosmo. We've already mentioned Scarlet Witch. Sentinel here is able to give us a recurring 2-cost, 3 strength when he's being buffed by Cerebro and potentially also Mystique. It's such an energy efficient play that I like him replenishing to hand as well if I've drawn some of my more situational or more expensive cards. Finally, on the upper end of the power curve, we're running Shang-Chi to be able to have a huge swing, knocking down one of the opponent's big bodies that we might not be able to overcome otherwise. And then we also have Iron Man, allowing us to double the power at a location. Iron Man is here because he also makes Mystique a little bit more consistent. If we play Cerebro early but don't have Mystique, and then later we get Iron Man, we can copy the effect of Iron Man with Mystique on turn 6, which can be about as impactful depending on the specific situation of Mystique actually copying Cerebro. There is so much flexibility here in what you run. There are some deck lists that I've seen that will try and run a self-discard synergy package, running Blade, Moon Knight, Wolverine, and then Swarm, all 3-power. All with synergy between each other. The thing is that I don't currently have Moon Knight, and I think that this specific deck list here is more reliable anyway. On the higher cost end of things, instead of Shang-Chi and Iron Man, you could run something like Leech or Professor X, be able to exert different types of control against your opponent depending on your take on the meta and what you enjoy running more. And then finally, it's worth mentioning that you're going to see some advice to run Blue Marvel with this deck list. He's going to buff everything to 4 strength as 4 strength himself, and then it still stays even for Cerebro to be able to buff everybody. The problem with that is then you're running Blue Marvel, and I think Blue Marvel is a terrible card. It's not a big enough swing for turn 6 to be worth it to us. In my experience, I get just as much out of Iron Man, but Iron Man is cheaper and Iron Man is easier to synergize with Mystique. Into our first game, we're going to throw Hawkeye into mid. The deck list is up above. If you're missing any cards, you can talk specific card substitutions with me down in the comments, or any variations that you would like to discuss down there. I always read the comments and I love hearing what's working for you guys, what are different takes that you guys have on the decks. We stuffed ourselves at the Super Flow, which is like, the opponent probably thinks we're a bot, especially given that our name Super Teddy is like in the same format of a lot of the bot names. But then again, this opponent's probably seen me on ladder before. I am a little bit, how would I say it? A little bit addicted. I play way too much. You could say it, many people are saying it many different ways. We'll throw in Cerebro here. Normally I like to be able to hold Cerebro Mystique for a final swing on turn 6, surprise him turn 6 or 7. But in this situation, we didn't have anything else to be able to play for tempo. We're just drawing rocks, so thank goodness we actually did find Cerebro and Mystique somewhere amongst all the junk. Our opponent isn't playing anything, which makes me a little bit worried. It could just be a Mr. Negative deck and he's waiting to be able to play Mr. Negative now. Mr. Negative is certainly running the meta. It might finally be time on the latest balance patch changes to actually give him what I think he needs, which is negative power himself. Am I dumb? No, it's because you have Super Flow and I don't. I was like, how did you play Iron Man on turn 4? Obviously we need to stop this with Magik and give us time to be able to draw good cards. Just some good cards, please. Okay, we turned Super Flow off. The opponent also decided it was enough with the Super Flow shenanigans. They're going to play something here. They played Mysterio. What is this deck? Maximus? You're going to give me draw? This is like a Sera miracle, but it's also running Iron Man. And I feel great because I've got Killmonger. Also, I love this negative ninja. Maybe I don't want to play a Killmonger to pop the ninjas. What would I like to play then? What's going to get big? Is anything going to be big enough for Shang-Chi to be able to take it down? Somehow I don't think so. What would he play? What would I am at a bit of a loss as to predict what my opponent's deck is. And so then it's very hard to be able to react to it. So I think I'm just going to play Shang-Chi Sentinel for the stat line. It feels weird, but that's what we're going to go for. They're filling things up. They probably have Mojo in here, is now what I'm suspecting. There's the Bishop. A couple rocks to empower the Bishop, sure. Is Mojo in here? It's just rocks. Yeah, the opponent is... Hey, I've drawn rocks too. If I have the energy, I'll play the rocks to show my opponent that we got hit with our fair share of those suckers. But otherwise, I think it is 0. Killmonger doesn't matter. Sentinel. Well, I don't want Scarlet Witch biting me. Right, she's gonna be nullified? 0, tell me she's gonna be nullified? You didn't do the little animation, so now you're worrying me. 0. There we go. Show me the end. Well, now I can't play her. And we do it yet again. She should be nullified. Oh my gosh. Sentinel, and then show a rock just to fill things up. Snap, because we're feeling snazzy. I think we were able to outrun them here. Now Mysterio's gonna flip somewhere. He's probably flipping onto Shadowland because they're putting the Iron Man down there. But is Subterranea going to be able to catch up to this 21 strength? They might come close. But then Shadowland is also under pressure. Ah, you play the Wolf's Bane. You buff. It's a tie. Oh no. Who is the real Mysterio? Yes, we win. The margin of victory by winning the mid 21-0 is enough. Oh. Yeah, I mean, they had to do it that way because if they played Mysterio over here to be able to win at Subterranea, they would not have been able to have enough to win in Shadowland. What a good game. Give them the thumbs up. They're probably not still in game. Oh, and Mystique levels up. All right, do I have enough to turn her gold? Let's get her gold, baby. The gold level border with the shiny logo, it's kind of where I like to stop with all the cards.
Shiny logo.
Show off our new Butte. Fits in all decks. Jack of all trades. Mystique is so good. Not a new cache yet. We recently got Viper. I'm excited to see where Viper may take us. Let me know down in the comments if there's any deck featuring Viper you would like to see. Otherwise, my imagination will run wild. We might even do something insane, like try the Electrocution deck where you play Electro and then you use Viper to push it over to the opponent so that they are restricted to only playing one card. Oh, it's kind of crazy, but it might work. I don't know. Let's get into the next one here. If you guys are enjoying these Decklist Breakdown videos, then it's your support through watching the videos, liking, leaving comments, all of that kind of stuff that lets us win the meta game here on YouTube. I appreciate all the support. Very excited for the videos that we have coming up next. We're going to be covering the Cerebro 5 power list and then the 6 power list. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see as soon as those drop. I got shaken there because Monster Island and Wakandan Embassy are the two worst locations possible for us. The monster is going to absorb all the buffs from Cerebro, is going to steal them away from everybody else, and you don't have any way to be able to get rid of this monster yourself. And then Wakandan Embassy gives you the buff to cards in your own hand, also throwing off your power curve, so that only those cards will be then higher power from everybody else, and they'll take the buffs. Thankfully, at least for Monster Island. Okay, sure, I'll play to Asgard. I will do that. And then I don't want rocks. We'll play Rhino. Let's see, is the opponent also going to move their monster to be able to win Asgard? I feel like they might. There it is. We're going to play Shang-Chi to kill this monster. Or potentially pair our monster with Iron Man. Both are good synergies. So we have ways to be able to game things out if we get the monster. It's Wakandan Embassy that really kills our game plan. They're playing a movement deck. Usually a Vulture is a great target for Shang-Chi, but they haven't played it yet and it's already turn 4. So I think we just need to take what we can get here, pop the monster, give us the advantage at Asgard, and then look to be able to set up another winning lane via Iron Man. Well, fantastic. So they pull everything on right. It buffs Kraven a little bit. And then we win Asgard. Getting us even more tools to be able to play down. Let's play the Iron Man on Ruins. If the opponent moves all of these to the left, they will still lose. Well, actually, hang on. If they move them all to the left, Kraven will let them win because he would get buffed.
I am Iron Man.
There's the Vulture. And there's multiple man. Interesting. Yeah, they're not going to be able to make good use of this at all. We will play Mystique. And then it's like Armor Hawkeye is the best. And Snap. So there we are. We're able to mitigate not being able to utilize Cerebro. Playing well through Shang-Chi and Iron Man can be an alternate win condition. Obviously, the bot AI was botching how you play that movement deck, but Shang-Chi is still an excellent counter to Heimdall movement deck. So you're going to be well equipped against a real person piloting that kind of deck as your opponent as well. Into our next match, we have Cerebro in the opening hand. We love to see it. Scarlet Witch, Rhino gives us so much flexibility with locations. Elite Angel, Crimson Cosmos. Crimson Cosmos does mess up our game plan quite a bit. We don't have a lot of big pieces. It's going to be like a Magik to be able to level that, maybe. Do I want to play Hawkeye and hold Scarlet Witch? Or do I want to just go straight in with Scarlet Witch? Let's go in with the Witch, see what we draw. We can always level it out with Rhino later on. The opponent playing Self-Destruction, we don't have to worry about them getting an advantage from Kunlun. We get a couple rocks in the deck. Okay. They've set up Bucky. This is probably a Deathwave deck. If they want Angel to be destroyed as well, which means Killmonger would just play into what they want to do. I'd kind of like to be able to hold Cerebro. So maybe I just play a Rhino. Killmonger is going to be a little redundant. They're going to destroy things for us anyway. Hang on. Does Death trigger on cards that they destroy or just their cards that are destroyed? How do I not know this? I feel like I must know this. One less for each card destroyed this game. It's just cards destroyed this game, period? Okay. Good to know. Guys, I'm waiting to be able to collect Death myself. I can't wait to be able to leverage that deck. It looks so fun. Of course, by the time that I probably get it, it's going to be nerfed into the ground because it's just everywhere right now. But I will accept the challenge of trying to run up against it. I think that we have a chance. We have a prayer. If we draw into Magik and Mystique, honestly, that's what it's going to take. So now Venom consolidates everything, which if we pull a Shang-Chi is going to be brilliant against it. We can kill the Venom. And we get the Shang-Chi. Okay. I think it's Iron Man. The alternative is Armor Cerebro. This is... It represents all the buffs. The thing is that if I play Shang-Chi on turn 6, I'm not going to be able to fit in Cerebro. I still just really want to be able to draw Magik, but with all the rocks in the deck, we can't count on that. Maybe this is more important. Okay, so we get the Hawkeye trigger. There's Death. There's the rocks. And the more rocks. Oh, it's great. Cerebro? How much juice do you have in the tank? Oh, there's Magik. Fantastic. The opponent just retreats?
Victory.
We made a Deathwave deck retreat before us? Ah, guys, we had so much room to go. Magik could have given us the extra turn. Shang-Chi would be able to destroy Venom. Enormous swing right there. We were in. We had him. Had him dead to rights. Up against Cinnamon Rolls here, common opponent for me. Always great games against him. Let's lead Hawkeye. Let's lead on mid. We've got 0 to be able to nullify something, but most likely just to try and play around. It's going to be a handicap for us. Scarlet Witch levels the playing field. Shang-Chi, a little bit of control. We just want to figure out what our opponent has to be able to predict if Shang-Chi is going to be valuable or not. Negative zone, certainly something we'd like to turn off here. And then Cerebro appearing in hand, fantastic. We would like to hold him to combo later on in the game. We would like to see if we get into Mystique. Invisible Woman. If only we were running Cosmo. Oh, I just flipped the sewer system. It's still terrible for us. So, let's play Cerebro. At the big house. The big house gives us a little bit of protection. The Enchantress is not going to be able to shut it off. The opponent is playing a Hela deck. They just want to play everything behind Invisible Woman anyway. And we need to be able, well, we can use Magik to be able to hit the sewer system to fix that. Ebony Maw for them. Ebony Maw is great. It's high efficiency. I have showcased this exact deck able to do great things with it. Hang on. I always hate that the cards that get, when you select them, get an effect from something on the board, then have a glitch where you can't immediately swing them into play. I have to select them twice. It could be because I'm on blue stacks. Maybe it's for everybody. I don't know. But Hela is going to be able to reinforce the Ebony Maw when she sends out her army of the dead. It does mean that Shang-Chi is going to be extremely useful if, big if, we're able to catch any of them on the board. Which means, oh no. Okay, hang on. I can try and surprise them to play their big pieces on turn 6 by just passing now. And then I can hit them with the Shang-Chi to kill the big pieces on the turn 7. I'm gonna try it. It sounds crazy. Maybe it'll work. They play Sera instead. I don't like that. That was not what I was expecting. I wanted a discard card to appear here by the big house. Okay. Now they're probably going to play Magik themselves. But I don't know how to respond. I have to turn this off so that we're all getting the buffs. It's a nightmare, guys. It's a nightmare. What is happening? Alright, let's get Limbo. Are they gonna play Magik as well? Lady Sif cuts up the death. And then this is Magik. This is Hela. That plays death. That could have gone worse, honestly, for us. We just play Shang-Chi here, and then Rhino here. And do I snap? They flip first. If they try and reinforce either location with a big card, now they can play it behind the Invisible Woman, but if they reinforce death, which they're probably going to do because this is close. This is not close. This is my advantage. We're playing an extra 5 points here. I'm gonna snap. What do you have? What do you have, Cinnamon Rolls? What can it be? Hela's gonna have a lot of options. A lot of big pieces. A Magneto. Very popular Giganto. There's the Magneto. Okay, this rearranges Cerebro. That doesn't affect us. Shang-Chi kills Death. What did you have behind the Invisible Woman? Was I close? Colleen Wing kills the Infinite. Is it Ghost Rider? Don't be Ghost Rider. Oh, we win by 1. Let's go.
Victory.
Yes. It feels so good. There is the deck in all of its glory. We'll see by the end of the week after I played all the Cerebro variants. Maybe our Cerebro will even be foiled. Who knows if I'm going to be able to get that high or not. Let me know what you guys think of this list. I think that the Cerebro 3-power list is my favorite out of the set. But of course, I've played it more to be able to get this video ready, so we'll see if my opinion changes as we cover the other ones, and I'm interested in what you guys think in the comments down below. Until next time, thank you guys for watching, and keep on snapping.